So it's Black Friday month again, and it is time for Rockstar's annual Black Friday sale. Or to give it its full name, Rockstar's Spend All the Money You've Saved, So You Need to Buy a Shark Card for the Update sale, or Satsmitsnabastu for short. Yeah, so you can see why they call it Black Friday. So what I thought I'd do, I'd break down what's worth looking at, what's not worth looking at, but without wanting to take too much of your time because there's a lot on sale. What I've decided to do is put everything into cost bandings. So I've looked at a few different bandings and I've kind of said what I think is worth looking at within each banding. Separate to that, there are a couple of things that sit above that we'll just talk about first. One of which, if you like your cars like I do, the Eclipse Boulevard Garage is on offer this week, which is a 60-car garage. It's the biggest garage you can get without a GTA Plus subscription. So if you are running out of room, that's a really good thing to buy at this point. The other two are slightly different. So there's 40% off all the yachts. Now, I'm actually a fan of the yacht. I think it's a cool place to spawn in. It comes with some missions. They're not awful. You're probably not going to replay them. Play them once, yeah, then they're kind of interesting. They're different. But there's also a free upgrade. So you can buy the cheapest yacht, or the Pisces, for 40% off. And then you can upgrade that to the top of the line yacht for free. So if you fancy one, now's a good time. Personally, I think it's worth it. It's one of my favourite spawn places. It's a nice thing to have. It's pretty useless, but it's still pretty cool. The other thing is the Terabyte, which was made a little bit more useful recently. It is expensive. It's useful if you want to run the Mark II for grinding. At this point in the game, it's difficult to say whether it's worth it or not, to be honest. So for those three, it's very much down to what you want to do. Eclipse Boulevard Garage, yes, if you're collecting cars. Yacht, it's a cool spawn point, but other than that, it's pretty much a waste of money. Now, let's have a look at the actual cars and a plane. So what I decided to do is look at a few different price bandings. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the top three for each price banding. So if you're wanting to spend between $500,000 and $1 million, in third place, I'd say look at the ZR350 for $726,000. Really cool car, drives nicely, decently quick, not super quick, but drives nicely, looks a hell of a lot like the RX-7. Great car to customise, you can do a couple of movie cars, it's fabulous. Go for it. Next up, I will go for the Buffalo STX at $697,000. Not a car I particularly like, but I've got to admit it is quite useful. It's one of the fastest muscle cars in the game. It can come with armour. You can add a remote control to it if you want to turn into a griefer. Why you would do that, I have no idea. But it is a pretty useful bit of kit. Now, arguably it's less useful than it used to be because a lot of the stuff that used to make the Buffalo STX unique is now available on lots of other cars. But still, for $697,000, it's a bit of a steal. And then at first place for the $500,000 to $1 million bracket, it's got to be the Zion at $568,000. It's just so cool. It's not quick, particularly, not particularly useful, not particularly strong, but it is cool. It is absolutely a gorgeous thing and a decent replica. So in the $1 million to $1.5 million, and this is where it gets tricky because I've got, in third place here, I've got the Avenger, which is 70% off, so you can get that for around $1 million. If you spec it up fully, it costs a little bit more, but it starts from about $1 million. It's actually a decent plane. It comes with some missions which are pretty terrible and don't pay particularly well, but it's a quick plane, it's agile, it's useful. It has its uses in sessions. If you play with friends, it's a useful thing to have. It's better to have either the bunker or the hangar. You can store this thing in either the bunker or the hangar. I tend to store mine in the bunker because it takes up too much room in the hangar. But yeah, 70% off. This is normally will cost you between 3.5 and 6 million. So to be able to get this for around $1 million is an absolute steal. Now, what comes in third depends on whether you are playing on expanded and enhanced. Because I've got 4 cars here. So we've got in second, we've got the Komoda or the Niobe. Now the Komoda is 1.1 million, the Niobe is 1.3. But if you're playing on expanded and enhanced, you're going to need to allow for your HSW upgrades on the Niobe, which is going to push it well above 2 million. So if you're playing on the old version, the Komoda is definitely worth looking at. Good fun to drive, really decent car. Then you've got the Cinquemila, which is at 1.2 million, and again, really decent car, which is a similar price to the Banshee. Now, whether you're playing on expanded and enhanced or not, the Banshee is awesome. If you're on a standard version, you should be picking the Banshee up. It's great, but if you're playing on expanded and enhanced, you're going to need to allow an awful lot of money for the HSW upgrades, which again is going to push that Banshee well over 2 million. So, moving up to the bracket between 1.5 and 2 million. In third place, I'd go for the Emirates at 1.9. It's a nice looking car. I think it's a nice looking thing. It's decently quick, decent in races, pretty decent all round. In second, I would probably go for the Tyrus, which is based on the McLaren F1 Longtail. It just looks amazing. It drives amazing. It sounds a little bit like a washing machine, but it's such a cool car. Not the fastest in the world, but it's decently quick, and it's definitely worth picking up at this price. And in first, I've got the very much unloved XA21. At 1.6 million, this drives really, really well. It's a lot quicker than it ought to be, and it makes a fabulous sound. So that's a really good one to pick up if you've got sort of 1.5 to 2 million that you want to spend. If you are spending between 2 million and 2.5 million, in third place I would say look at the LM87 at 2 million. Really decent looking historical Le Mans racer, great handling, decently quick, insane downforce. Easily one of the better looking of the Le Mans or the Le Mans type cars. Some of the others, yes, they're quick and they've got the same downforce, but some of them are a little bit ugly. In second place, I thought long and hard about this. In second place, I'm going to put the Deluxo. Now, I've had one of these for ages and I hardly ever use it. I don't like it. I don't generally like the people who do use it because it's another one of those that's in the same vein as the Mosquito, that people just use it to annoy you. It's really slow on the roads. Yes, it does fly, but it flies incredibly slowly. It has really good tracking missiles, and there is a technique you can use to avoid other people's missiles when they lock onto you. I just find there's never any reason to call it out and use it, but you can make a decent Back to the Future DeLorean replica with this. And in first, for this bracket, I'm going to go for the Toreador at 2.5 million. It's still expensive, but it's such a useful bit of kit. It really is the antidote to the Mark II because it can take a good few missiles, and because its own missiles have decent tracking, if someone comes after you in a Mark II, they are not going to last very long against the Toreador. And personally, I love that 70s styling. Not everyone does. I do. So that's it. Now, just one thing before we go. Do remember, Rockstar want you to spend all of your money, so you have to buy a shark card for the update. So that's why I decided to do this in cost bandings, because that way you can look at how much you think you're going to need for the update or for the DLC. It's depending on how many of the cars you want, whether you want to buy the mansions. You could be looking at anything from 20 to 30 million on launch day, 40 million plus if you want to get everything from the whole DLC. So if you're a little bit tight around that cash, what I would recommend you do with this sale is set yourself a budget, and what I've tried to do here is give you something that means you can pick the best that you're going to get for your budget for this Black Friday sale. So I hope that was useful. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.